What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 6 of Optimal Function. I'm Dr. Craig Banks. I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Jim Morgenstern.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for tuning in.
So we've got a great show lined up today. We've got some really cool topics that we're going to talk about later. We're going to be interviewing Robert Sikes, who Dr. Jim has been on his podcast before, from Keto Savage. And then you've got something going on a little later, right?
I do. Actually, I'm headed from here. This is Friday. I'm going down to Mansfield, Ohio, to the Ohio State Reformatory to work on Shinedown. They're basically going to be there, what's called Incarceration. So it's like a big 3-day music festival, and they do a lot with like tattoos and stuff. It's going to be awesome. So I can't wait to see the guys. So
yeah,
that's be fun.
I'm jealous. Jealous. All right. So we're going to bring in Robert here. So you want to give a little bit about Robert's background?
So our guest today is Robert Sikes from Keto Savage. And you guys, anybody in the keto space, they know him. They know Danny. They know all the guys that really have made their name in the athletic realm and performance when it comes to the ketogenic lifestyle. And Robert and his wife are two of the most amazing people, and they always have great content. But a little bit about Robert, and he'll talk about himself here too. He is a lifetime natural competitive bodybuilder, and basically his goal is to educate others about the importance of following your own passions and getting the results you want. And so without further ado, Robert Sikes, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, gentlemen. I'm excited to be here.
So basically, we want to kind of dive right into like, what's a morning routine look like for you? What have you been up to today, and what's a typical day look like for Robert?
Yeah, so my morning routine's been kind of all over the place lately. We got so we have our employees that come here to make the KetoBricks, which we can probably dive into that in a bit. But we have like a morning meeting, so I wake up early, start getting some work done before they get here. Once they're here, we have our meeting, and then from there I go off and train. So I just actually got done training. What did I train today? I trained back and biceps, so I just finished a back and bicep workout, and now I'm here talking to you, wonderful gentlemen.
Awesome. Is that with or without a morning coffee?
No, I've actually switched, so I'm trying to phase myself off of caffeine, or at least wean myself off of caffeine. So I've been having this Newer Roast mushroom blend coffee with just a splash of MCT powder in there. So it's one scoop of MCT powder, and then the coffee blend, or the mushroom blend, has pretty much been my morning drink.
And now that's loaded with like nootropics and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, so it's got the mushroom blend. It's got like the lion's mane, chaga, reishi, turkey tail, that just a typical mushroom mix. And then I've been adding like a quarter teaspoon of glycine, tryptophan, tyrosine, and one more that I forgot the name of. So just some basic amino acids.
Cool. That's awesome. So you're a busy dude, and I know you got so many different things going on, but tell us a little bit more about your 4,000 calorie a day challenge right now that you're doing for the next 3 months. Is that right?
Yeah, so I started that on Monday, actually. Okay. I'm basically trying to ramp up my metabolism a little bit before my next experiment. So I want to, in order for me to do that, the best way to do it is to kind of increase my fuel intake. So my baseline's around 3,000, 3,500 calories. So by bumping it up to 4,000 calories, it kind of ramps up my metabolism. So I'm in a better baseline starting point prior to going into a caloric deficit. So I did that before with 6,000 calories, which was a little bit too much for me. So I kind of scaled it back to 4,000, and I'm 1 week into that now, feeling good so far.
How long did you do the 6K? Was that something you ran for a month and then didn't like how it went, or tell us about that?
It was originally going to be 6,000 for 6 months, but I did it for 3 because, it got to the point after about 3 months, it was just like force feeding, and I'm like, this is just, like I've reached the peak of any benefit that I'm getting from this. Time to scale things back a little bit. So now I'm doing a little bit more sustainable with the 4,000.
And you're trying to repair metabolism, and we can kind of talk about how a lot of bodybuilders, when they come down from shows, they don't take the time to rebuild that up. So what are you seeing with some of your clients, and what would be important for people to look out with, for their own plans?
Yeah, so like as a coach, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make time and time again is they'll drop their calories, they'll stay at a super deep caloric deficit for far too long, like sub 1,000 calories, and then their metabolism basically flatlines and shuts down on them, and then they start actually gaining body fat, because at that point, any food they do consume, their body's just automatically converting to fat because it's just starved, like it's in a survival mechanism basically, and you can't really break that and repair that metabolism until you start reverse dieting back up in calories and give your body a reason to rebuild its metabolism. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I didn't really have a damaged metabolism to start. I'm just trying to give myself a bump so that I'm in a better starting position for a cut.
Well, you already look cut. You just, for those of you out there, if you head over to Robert's Keto Savage YouTube page, one of the more recent videos, you went through a full day and kind of shown prep on. I think you cooked lamb in the Traeger, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was good too.
And then you took some time towards the end, and you were doing some poses and stuff. You looked great. So you said you're about 12 to 14%. How much more cut you trying to go for just maintenance? Because look pretty good.
Yeah,
man.
12 to 14% is pretty much my maintenance. Like that's what I'm at in the off season. But I might have to take the gloves off again and step on stage here for too awful long. So I might have to get that a little lower than that.
When's the last time that you did step on stage? For those of you who don't know Robert, fill us in.
2017, man. So I started I did my I started building my Keto Savage brand in 2016, and then I competed with the ketogenic approach in 2017. But I didn't really have much of a following at that point. So a lot of my audience now has kind of seen me post that original prep. So I'm excited now that I've got more of an audience. They can kind of see me go through the entire process of a prep, and I can really just kind of showcase what that looks like. So it's going to be good, man. I'm going to dispel some rumors that you can't get cut or build muscle on keto.
So and that was some of the questions that I have because I've competed as well. I've done short bursts of keto here and there. I've never gone right up to stage time with a keto. So what's that final week like from a ketogenic approach? Is there still carbs added at the end? Is there still a carb up process? And what even is the first couple days after the show? What's that look like?
Great question. I was gonna say you look like you competed before, man. You're jacked. So as far as that's honestly the beauty of keto, because like if you're following a typical carb based approach, you start manipulating your water. Everybody's got a little different way of going about it, but normally people start manipulating their water. They start fooling around with their sodium, and then they'll carb deplete, and then they'll start bringing carbs back in the last 48 hours, 24 hours or so, depending on what they've experimented with and what works. But then they're pretty volatile because if they overshoot their carbs, they run the risk of spilling over. A lot of people, they'll put in all this work for 4 months of prep, and they'll take in too much carbs, or they'll get their electrolytes off, taking too much water, and they spill over, and they look like terrible. So with keto, I don't add any carbs back in. I just keep it super strict keto, and I don't honestly even manipulate my water. I stay hydrated throughout. I'll increase my sodium a little bit the day before, and I'll also increase my fat and my protein macros a bit the day before, do like a fat load instead of a carb load. And then that's worked really well for me. I mean, I wake up just super tight and lean the next day, and I'm able to get a pump. The extra sodium really helps get the pump on stage. So, and then after, post prep, I don't have to run the risk of having a really negative rebound and putting on 20 pounds in 24 hours like I have in the past with a carb-based protocol. When I'm doing keto, my body soaks in what it needs, but it doesn't have that negative rebound, so I don't have to worry about that just surplus of weight coming back on.
So do you do cleaner fats right up to it, or do you I know that sometimes my coach will throw like, hey, go have a giant burger and just load up on kind of some maybe the not healthiest fats, or are you kind of more along the lines of like still nuts and avocados, and what are your fat sources right at the end?
So I try and keep it super clean. When I did my prep in 2017, I was super broke, so I was just going for what I could afford. Whereas now I'm going to just put an emphasis on nutrient density and quality food. So like I'm eating a bunch of organ meat right now. I'm just like the premier, nutrient dense foods I can find. But yeah, all the fats will be super clean, like olive oil, my KetoBrick, which is largely cacao butter from a fat source, good fatty cuts of meat like the ribeyes, 75-25 ground grass-fed beef, stuff like that.
Okay. And that was, I think, one of our next questions is tell us a little bit about the brick. I mean, that's something that I think anybody who does keto for any level of time, they're always struggling to, what can I eat? What can I have fast? So it sounds like you've got a little bit of a cool approach to that. So tell us about that.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like I never wanted to have a physical product. I never wanted to come across as like somebody that's always trying to push a product or sell something like that. So I never planned on selling this thing. During my last prep in 2017, I wanted a fat source that it made hitting my higher fat ratio macros easier because my protein was very low, my fat was very high. So I wanted to make sure I had something that was just enabled me to hit those macro ratios relatively easy. And there wasn't really anything on the market that I could find. So I made this. I was just experimenting in my kitchen trying to find something that was shelf stable, had the macro ratio I was looking for, and was just easy, portable, and foolproof. And so I had all kinds of different generations of this KetoBrick thing and never planned on selling it. I had it on like a YouTube video during one of my prep vlogs, and people kept asking about it, like, what is this thing? What can I get it? What's the recipe? And I'm like, it's just nothing. It's something I'm playing around with. and never gave it much thought. And then my mom actually was like, you got to start selling this thing. I'm reading these comments on these YouTube videos and everybody's asking about it. And then my girlfriend at the time, wife now, Crystal, she was like, let's just jump in and see what happens. So that's exactly what we did. She started reading up on, food permit laws and how to, create things in a commercial kitchen space. I started diving into, building a product-based company and marketing it and all that jazz. And the rest is history, man. We launched in March of last year, and it's just grown ever since.
The lady is always coming to the rescue, mom and the wifey, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Crystal.
Pretty much.
Awesome. And so Keto Savage Kitchen, is that something that you guys have you've stayed consistent weekly, I think, is what we see on, if I remember, it's Wednesday nights, or help me out here, but you guys do different keto meals throughout the month to help people kind of stay accountable and have options, right?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of keto chefs out there. I am by no means a chef, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a terrible cook, honestly. So our recipes are just thrown together. We're tasting them for the first time on camera, and if they taste like crap, we tell people it tastes like crap. But it's fun, we make them, and it's just cool. So yeah, we do those usually once a week. We're trying to get on more of a structured routine as far as when we're publishing these things. But yeah, Wednesday is probably going to be the day.
That's cool. Well, we enjoy them. I know they're entertaining, and even if it doesn't go the way you guys think, it's still fun to see you guys go through it together. And you and Crystal work really well off each other. If you don't get enough feedback, I think it's something that you should know. You guys do an awesome job. So
appreciate it, man.
I wanted to ask you too. You started another business, right? Your clothing line. Help us with the name. Is it Live Savage or?
Yeah, it's Live Savage Apparel. And honestly, I never planned on making a clothing line, but we kept getting people wanting swag that was in line with the branding for the bricks and Keto Savage and just the different business entities we have now. So it's like, well, shoot, we'll just make an apparel line too and just kind of have fun with that and, take what I've learned from the brick business and apply that to the apparel business. And that's what we've been doing. So yeah, we're constantly trying to see what new items we can add to the line and just scale it up from there.
It's very cool. So yeah, do you want to ask about the injury?
Yeah, so I know that Jim was telling me you had kind of struggled with a back injury a little bit ago. So tell us a little bit about how you got injured and what are you doing now? How you feeling now?
Yeah, so it honestly hadn't really affected me much lately. But when I was doing squats, it was 315 on the bar, so nothing heavy. It was like a warm up set, and the second rep in, I felt something pull in my lower back, and then I knew instantly it was off. I just totally lost my balance. I racked the weight and then hit the floor, and the rest was history. I literally couldn't even stand for 24 hours. I'd have Crystal try and help me up, but then, if I laid down, it would take me 30 minutes just to figure out how to roll around in order to get on my knees to get up again. And I forget what it was that I pulled. I think I asked, you remember what it was, Jim, that I pulled?
Well, I don't think we got an official diagnosis because when I was on your podcast, I think you were still trying to figure it out. But either it was a paraspinal muscle or a facet joint or a disc.
Yeah, facet joint. That's what it was. Okay. Facet joint. Cool. So yeah, I pulled. I don't remember which one it was, but one of the 2 or 3 lower ones. And yeah, it was rough, man. I was totally out of commission for a week or 2.
And then what did you end up doing for treatment, if any? And then what have you been doing to keep things kind of moving preventatively?
So I found a chiropractor. Actually, one of my clients went to school with a chiropractor here relatively close to me, so he recommended him to me. And I went, and he's a upper cervical chiropractor. So I told him what the issue was, and since I didn't know there was different, I don't know anything about chiropractors, so I didn't know there was an upper cervical versus everything else. Sure. And he's like, yeah, I'm not even going to touch your lower back. I'm just going to tweak this one vertebrae here, and we'll call it good. So I'm like, okay, you're the boss. Let's do it.
And by that you meant in the neck, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he's only adjusting that upper cervical there. And, I think it's helped. I feel like I have more alignment in going to him. I haven't been in quite a while because I've been traveling lately, but I don't think it made much of a difference in that facet joint. At least, I don't know. It's more of a preventative, proactive approach, I'm assuming, with the upper cervical work. So probably not the best thing to help fix that lower.
Yeah. I think that, maybe in a non-interview setting, Jim and I will touch base on this, but I think from a sports standpoint, my opinion is that upper cervical can be a great type of maintenance thing, but it's really hard to treat a low back specific injury with upper cervical chiropractic. So I know we have a couple of guys in our area that will do upper cervical stuff, but then if you needed a low back adjustment, they're going to give you a low back adjustment. So I know that for me, from a sports standpoint, I always find that full spine approach, including extremities and stuff, works better. And again, that's nothing against upper cervical chiropractic care from a health, wellness, maintenance type of thing. I don't think it works really good for injury.
So
I agree.
You've yet to have anybody work on your lower back since then?
Correct, yeah.
Wow.
Haven't anybody. I've just kind of let it heal. But I mean, shoot, I don't know, man. If I was taking an X-ray right now, you'll probably be screaming. I'd probably got all kinds of issues.
Did you end up making your way up here during the Arnold Sports Festival, or did you not make your way to Columbus?
No, if I had, I was going to come see
For
you,
sure.
but I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't go. I couldn't make that trip, so we're gonna have to do some kind of. I have to figure out what the next event up there is, and just go up there and see you as a standalone event. I mean, hell, that'd be worth my while.
Yeah, we'd love to have you up.
Come up. We're usually up at the Dave Lieberman show. He's a huge natural show, and he has the Natural Northern Ohio, the Natural Northern USA and the Natural Ohio. One's in April, one's in October. I'm good friends with Phil Heath, so Phil's going to be at this next one coming up here in October. So I know we'll be up there for that. So
Road
glance at
trip.
your
I
schedule.
see you wearing that Dream Killer shirt. I figured that was some kind of connection there.
Yeah, he just launched his supplement line. It'll be available on Amazon, so we're pretty excited about that. It's really pretty awesome. So,
like, you need one more idea,
right?
To be running with the keto supplement line too.
Yeah, I thought about that, man. Like, I don't know. I've got like a mind map of different business ideas I've got, churning around in my head at all times.
Sure.
Good.
Okay. So what's next for you? I mean, I know we touched on, where you begin with bodybuilding and into keto, and, what's next for you? I know you said maybe you're going to prep for a show. Do you have anything on the map at all for like 2020 or 2021?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even made this public yet. I'll just reveal here.
All right.
Guess I'm gonna be doing a show, probably multiple shows in 2020.
Okay.
So that'll be like, I tend to take a couple of years off in between shows so that I've got ample time to put some muscle back on. Like, especially with natural bodybuilding, if I'm in a caloric deficit for 5 to 6 months prepping for a show, that doesn't leave me much time to have a productive off season. So I take several years off in between shows. And last show being 2017, I'm going to hit the ground running again 2020. I'll probably start prepping this November, and then, see what kind of shows line up during probably like the April, May time frame, and just tackle those head on.
What federation do you usually stick in?
So I'm kind of playing around, man. I've done NPC, I've done WNBF, I've done OCB, and I've done GBO. I'm probably going to focus a lot more on OCB and WNBF this next year, but I'm open to anything. It's funny, man. There's a lot of different politics with the different federations. I'm trying to figure all those out. And some, like, I hate the fact that if you get your pro card in one, you're automatically not allowed to compete in any other, which I think is just, I don't know, I've never agreed with that. But, yeah, so I'm just going to see what my options are, and then see what, works with the time frame I'll be peaking in, and then just fit as many as I can in.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting business things that happen inside of the federations, and in case I do get back on stage, which I plan on, I'm just going to shut my mouth at the end of that.
Yeah.
But I will say that, again, Dave Lieberman's show, if you're looking around April, man, it's up in Ohio, and it's a phenomenal show. Huge, very well run. They've got a huge back screen and backdrop. Always amazing sponsors. So
what federation is that?
It is an NPC show. So
NPC?
Yep. But it's just such a well run show. I've been a sponsor of it numerous times. I go up there a lot of times from a chiropractic standpoint, and then from my Kinetic Cream product, we're up there a lot of times. So we'll check that out, and I'll give you some more information down there.
Yeah,
for
sure, man. I'd check it out for sure.
Cool. All right, man.
Yeah.
Learning a lot, man. I know we could go for hours and days and stuff like that, but we'll do this again. I think, and we got to get you adjusted from a full spine aspect here sometime real soon.
Yeah, I'm all about that, man. I've never been to I've been to 2 different chiropractors, and the first one was like some weird, like, go in, pay him $30, and he jumps on your back a few times, and I think that was my first impression, and it wasn't very good. And the upper cervical, which the guy's super knowledgeable and professional, but I would definitely be keen to go someplace where they do a full spine adjustment and actually know what they're doing. I think that'd be advantageous for me, especially with what I'm doing, how I'm training on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's a necessity for anyone in a sports standpoint, whether they be a competitive athlete and they're running, throwing, jumping, whatever, or again, just from a competitive standpoint, making sure that you have that balance, you can hit all the poses in bodybuilding. And, I know that leading up to it, I've worked on numerous bodybuilders and at the very top level, and just there's not many at that top level that aren't getting adjusted on a regular basis, leading right into it. So I think that would be something we should get for you. So
yeah, 100%. Count me in.
All right, man. Well, listen, thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate it. And like I said, we'll do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, Robert.
appreciate the opportunity. Yeah. Thank y'all.
All right, guys, we'll be right back in just a minute, and we'll talk about our optimal concepts.